Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Terry, and this is the Yarnjoy podcast, episode number 28. So glad you came by to see my video today and to see the progress that I've made on my projects. Thank you for my subscribers, and thank you to my new subscribers. Each week I get a few more, so I'm happy about that. I'm always excited to be able to share what I like to do with everybody. Okay, so we have some finished objects today and some works in progress. So let's get started. Okay, so for my first finished object, I have been showing you the past couple of weeks that I was doing a knitted hat called the Declan's hat, and I did get it finished. Here it is. This is the first time I ever did cables, and I think I did good on it. It was a little off toward the top, and I discovered that I had dropped a stitch, and I was actually able to go back down and get it and pull it back up, so I was really happy about that after all the work I did on it, and I was afraid that I'd messed it up, but I think I've got it all there. Okay, and let's see. The next finished object I did was a little Christmas ornament, just something I made. I didn't make it up. I got the pattern off of Ravelry, and I put it together this morning. Actually, it's a little Santa bauble, I guess you'd say. Very, very simple. I just used scraps, but I thought it was super cute. Okay, and my third finished object is last week. If you were watching my episode, which I hope you were, I was talking about a toy that I remembered from my past. I'm sure everybody has heard about Elf on a Shelf, and I remember my grandmother had one when I was a child, and so I found a pattern to work on it, and I finished him. Here he is. I really like the way he turned out. It is a pattern by Jessica Doring. I think that's how you pronounce her name. It's called Jingle the Christmas Elf, and he does sit up. I mean, his knees bend really well, but he will fall over. He's top heavy, so you have to lean him up against something, which is not a problem for me. Either that, or you can stick his arms kind of backwards, and that kind of helps prop him up. But anyway, I didn't think I was gonna be finished with him because he's called for 7.5 millimeter safety eyes, and when I was looking in my supplies, I had 6 millimeter, and then I had 9 millimeters, and so I tried both of those, and those just wasn't right. The 6 millimeters, he gave him kind of beady eyes. It just didn't look right, and the 9 millimeters were quite large. I didn't really like the way it was turning out, and so I didn't think I was going to get him done, but I found the eyes on Amazon, and I ordered them. Thank goodness for Amazon Prime, because I actually got the eyes this morning, and I was able to finish it up, because it being safety eyes, you have to put the eyes in before you can finish and stuff the head, and so so I did that, and I had done the hat ahead of time, so that way I could just add that on. The hair is done with a it's like a cap, and then you put it on, and then you stitch it down, and then I put a few stitches up in the front to kind of give him not bangs, but more of an interesting hairline there, I guess you'd say. And let's see. Oh, and I stuffed his body except for the head, but since I used a very small hook. In fact, it is a, let me see if I can read it, 2.5 millimeter. It's attached to something else, but that's the one I used, and it made a very dense fabric, and so I was able to stuff his body, since it's a dark color, I was able to stuff it with yarn scraps. I have this little jar that's next to me when I'm working, and I just fill it, and when it gets full, then if I have something I can use to stuff in, then I will use them. And so I was happy that I could do that. Now for the head, since it's a light color, I believe it's Lime Brand Fisherman is what I used for the flesh color. And since it's a light color, I didn't want the colored yarn scraps to show through, so I did do fiber fill on his head. And let's see, very easy pattern. I love the way it's put together because you start with the legs and then you close it off to make the joint, and then you open it up again by going around the 3 stitches that you closed off, and that made another tube, and so you do that to that section, and then that's closed off, and then you have to do the second leg, because that way when you have the 2, then you attach them together as you're opening up to make the body part. And then of course the arms were separate and you had to stitch them on, but even with the head and his little collar, you had to attach it, and then the head you attach, and then you start working up from the bottom up. And so very good instructions and easy to put together. Oh, and I was saying that I had ordered the 7.5 millimeter eyes, and the ones I ordered was called Sassy Bears on Amazon, and they seem to work very well. I have used them some of the other sizes, and I haven't had any trouble with the eyes coming loose or anything, so I think that's a good brand. I guess that's a good brand. I also like the Darice, D-A-R-I-C-E brand of safety eyes as well. Okay, so that was my third finished object, and then my fourth finished object is more of my granny squares that I've been doing, following the tutorials from Yarn Utopia. That's Nadia, and she did 365 days of granny squares last year, where she released a tutorial per day, one per day for the whole entire year, giving a tutorial on a granny square. So I've been working through those and putting blankets together as I go. And if you watched some of my earlier videos, you saw that around 38 to 45, somewhere around there. I think it must have been around February when she released those, and so they all had hearts in it, and so I wanted the hearts to be more random, and so I did a couple of them, and then I stopped and I skipped ahead to like number 46 or so and went on, and then so every so often I'll go back and pick up those ones with the hearts, so then I'll make sure I do get them all done. And so I went back and I picked up number 42, and I did that. It is a heart. Looks kind of like an apple, but it is supposed to be a heart shape. So that was 42. And then going on with the rest of my in order squares, I have number 61. Now the edges are kind of curled up, which they won't be once I get the border on them and in the blanket. So that's number 61. And then I did number 62 right here. Ooh, the color's kind of blowing out there. And then I did number 63. I did this one. I really like this one. It's like a big daisy, but I did it in green instead of just a regular flower color. But I like the way it turned out. Okay, so that's my squares I did for this past week. And that will take us into my works in progress. Okay, so for my works in progress, I've been attaching these squares together using the flat braid join as you go method. And so I have 2 completed rows where I've been putting them together. I'm doing 7 across. So being 7 across, that makes that 14 put together right there with the two rows. And then these 4 will be attached this next week, working on the 3rd row. And as my blanket that I finished a few weeks ago with the previous squares, I did 7 rows across by 6 rows down, and so I will do that for this as well. And then it's plenty wide, I think, and so I won't have to worry about doing a border. I mean, widening the border to make it bigger, because I went up 2 hook sizes from the hook size that she uses on the video so that my squares will end up bigger. So I like this size. Okay, so there's that one. And then, let's see. Oh, last week I showed you this shawl right here that I have on this chair. And I had some more of the Lion Brand Mandala yarn. That colorway right there is Spirit. And I had bought another 2 cakes of a different colorway. This one is there. It's got a brown in it right there. You can see on this side. Right there. Anyway, this colorway is called Sphinx. And so I bought 2 of these. And there's another person that I want to do a shawl for. And so I tried different shawl patterns. I thought about doing the, I'm sure you've seen some people talking about, I know Hannah, I think her name's Hannah, from the Cozy Cottage Crochet, yes, and she did the Edlothea, I think that's how you pronounce it, shawl, and I thought about doing that one. I started it, but then it just seemed like, I liked it, but I think it needed a different type of yarn maybe or something, I'm not sure. So I ripped that out, and then I started wondering about another one. I can't remember the name of that one, but it seemed like there was a lot of, it was in sections, and between each section you had 3 rows of single crochets, and I was thinking, well, 3 rows of solid single crochets, which is fine in the beginning when you have when your little triangle, you know, is small, but once it gets pretty long, wide rather, and long, that when you have to do those 3 single crochet, solid single crochet rows ever so often, that would be a lot of stitches to have to go across. And so I was thinking, I didn't know if I wanted to do that, and I really liked the way this pattern went. It went pretty quickly, and I think it turned out pretty. So I decided to do this pattern again, and this is called the, I don't even know if I pronounced it right, but it's Erigenia shawl, I think. I'll put a link in the description box below for the pattern. It is on Ravelry. It comes written instructions and comes with charts, and the charts are really, for me, I had no problem reading the charts, and I don't really have a whole lot of experience reading charts, so I think a beginner chart reader would not have any trouble with them. So here's the colors. That's as much as I've done so far. It started with this blue, I guess you'd call it a blue, turquoise or something. Anyway, it came into a brown, and now there's that kind of a red-brown section. And here's the the cake I'm working out of. See, I'm in that brown section, and then it's going to go into a navy, and then a brighter blue, I guess you'd say, and then there's even a yellow and green. It's a very pretty colorway. And again, I'll tell you that the colorway is called Sphinx, and it's a Lion Brand Mandala. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with that one. It took about 1 1/2 or 1 2/3, something like that, cakes for the other one. So I'm thinking that since I have 2 of them, it should be fine. I'll have a little bit left over, but that's fine. Okay, so that's the shawl I started for that, and that will be Christmas gift for somebody. And then let's see, what else? Oh, and then last week, yes, I also showed you a cassette pouch, like a zipper pouch that was from the Moogly blog website, and there's a link to it on Ravelry. And I just thought it was really cute, and I've got it completed more or less. There's the front, so it actually does look like a cassette tape, which I think is really cute, super cute. And then the back is just the stripe pattern. And I have it stitched around, and it does open, so that is a pouch. And then the top, when I stitched this label on there, I left the top open, so that will be like an outside pocket. So I just need to apply the zipper. But since the stitches on the back are half double crochets, I was thinking that it's not that dense of fabric. I mean, you know, there's holes, not holes, but it's just the way the stitches are. And so I'm thinking about lining it and applying a zipper. So stay tuned for that to see what I come up with. But I've got some fabric, and I'm thinking about lining it and then having the zipper and attaching it all together. But anyway, I think it's really cute. Okay, so there's that. And then let's see. Oh, since I did finish the knitted Declan's hat, I started another knitting project, and this is just another hat. This one doesn't have cables in it, so that way it should go faster. But is a bankhead hat, and all I've got right now is just the ribbing. But I'm doing it in Lion brand. Heartland, I think it is. It's the same as what the green was, but it's in like a navy blue. I don't have the label, so I can't tell you the exact color name. But it is called the Bankhead hat. Pretty popular. A lot of people are familiar with this pattern, I think. There's what the hat looks like, if you can see. Yeah. It's got kind of a wide brim, and then you start this ribbing at the top. I've made one of these before, and it turns out really nice, so I was thinking that would be good to do. And then let's see, the other works in progress I have is the shawl that I started for myself. That's fingering weight shawl, and I'm using the Cotton Flowers yarn that I ordered for my birthday. And I've just done a little bit on it. Well, yeah, I have a picture, I believe, of my progress on my Instagram, which is Yarnjoy _podcast is my Instagram name. Anyway, this is how far I've gotten. I've gotten a little bit more on it. I finished the first section, and then I'm down in this section. I believe this was like a crochet along, because it seemed like it's kind of divided into 4 parts, the pattern. So this was the first section, and see how you can see that these stitches are turning out different, the stitch pattern. And so I'm down on that section right now. Anyway, I think it's going to be really pretty once I finish it. I'll show you a picture of it. There's a stitch on there coming up after I finish that section, which would be the 3rd section, that's got a butterfly stitch. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a butterfly stitch, and then underneath there you can see that there's a heart, a row of hearts. And there's what the pattern looks like. That is a pattern project that somebody that followed the pattern had made just on the project pages on Ravelry. Okay, so that's all I've been working on. Oh no, one more thing. On YouTube, or here on YouTube, Yarn Utopia, Nadia is, she's the same person that did the 365 days of Granny Squares. Well, she's been releasing a daily, like 12 days of Christmas, daily Christmas ornament tutorial. And this was, I believe it was day 2, and I'll put a link to it. But anyway, it's going to be a Christmas tree, and it's made out of multiple circles, different sizes. See, and you stack, I just use scrap yarn, you stack them together. I've got one more circle to do at the bottom that's a little bit larger, and then I'll have a it's a Christmas tree. And so you'll have the stump attached, the trunk, and then there'll be a heart. Oh no, not a heart. Woo. A star, yes, a star on the top, and I'm using this sparkly bonbon. I don't know if you can see the sparkles, maybe. Anyway, it's got sparkles in it. And this will be the star that goes on the top. And I believe there must be a string that runs maybe all the way through that, because right now all these circles are just stacked like a sandwich. And I think there's a string that runs through that connects them all together and hangs it up with the hanging string, I guess. I'm not sure. Anyway, almost finished with that one. I thought I was going to be finished with it, but I didn't quite make it. So that one will be done for next week. And she's got some, but I used smaller yarn. Several weeks ago, I showed you that I had ordered some of these bonbon sets. You've probably seen them. They're all like multiple skeins. I think I got 40 or 50 of them. 40. It was on a big bag, and I ordered them from Amazon. And I think it's a number 3 weight yarn. Instead of number 4, and in her video she used like Red Heart Super Saver number 4 weight yarn in this Christmas tree ornament, so hers turned out quite a bit larger, and so I reduced my hook size and used this smaller weight yarn because I wanted my ornament to turn out smaller. And if you should check her videos out though, because these 12 days of Christmas ornaments that she's releasing are very cute. She's got one that she did of a reindeer head that I think I'm going to do that one too, but I do want to use the smaller yarn so that my ornament will be smaller, because hers turned out, you know, fairly large, which is fine if you have a very large Christmas tree. Or, you know, the room for it, or if, you know, if it goes along with if you have all large ornaments or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to use to make it smaller. Anyway, I'm going to have some fun with those. I think they turned out really cute. She's got several of them. She has like a Christmas mitten and a little Christmas package that's stuffed, that's also an ornament, and several, I guess, and this is day 7, so if there's 12 days, then that means there's 5 more that she'll be releasing, so I think they're going to be really cute, so I plan on making several of them. Okay, so as far as the ornaments, but upcoming projects, I do have a few bags that I want to sew, like project bags, or just some little bags that I want to put together. I have another drawstring backpack that I want to put together, and so these are sewing projects, and I'm hoping to get those started maybe this upcoming weekend. I'm not sure, but they will be some Christmas presents and things, so I'm just kind of checking my list twice and making sure that I've got covered for the Christmas giving that I'm going to do. And now that I've finished this Elf on a Shelf jingle, I plan on starting another amigurumi project as well pretty soon. So I guess that's about it. We have just tomorrow, since this is Thursday, we have tomorrow of our homeschool, and then next week we have Monday and Tuesday, and then we will be out for our winter holiday or Christmas holidays, whatever you want to call them. And so we're looking forward to that. Haven't got my Christmas tree up yet, but plan on doing that this weekend too. So that's really it. Please subscribe if you haven't, and come back and see what I've done on these projects. I'm anxious to get this shawl put together, because just watching the color changes on these yarns is just really fun to me. I guess that's it. Comment below and let me know what y'all are working on. I did have a few people comment on my last video and shared with me and the other people that read the comments what they're working on. And there are all kinds of projects going on. It's really exciting to hear about your projects as well. So everybody have a great week, and we will see you next week. Bye.